Welcome to everyone who chose Pound 1. If you're here, you're in the right place. Today's topic is what the other person expects from me at this moment and my future actions. So, in this reading, we are going to look at a few different layers of disconnection. The first line, we are going to look into their current feelings toward you, their emotional state, and the overall energy of disconnection right now. This line also shows their personality tendencies and what kind of mindset they're in when it comes to you. And second line, we are going to see what kind of actions they're likely to take toward you in the near future. And third line, we'll look at the emotional reason behind those actions, what's driving their behavior, what kind of hurt space they're operating from. And the last line, the first line, we're going to see what they are currently expect from you, what they want from you. So let's start with the first line and look at their current feelings toward you. Um, Pile one feels like this person sees this connection as something meaningful, but also something that needs to be handled carefully. There is a sense that they believe this connection has a purpose. They don't see you as a random. They don't see this as a coincidence. There's a feeling of this happened for a reason in their mind. At the same time, they're very grounded in reality. They are not living in pure fantasy about this connection. They think about time, stability, whether something can actually work long term, not just emotionally but practically. They consider whether a relationship would be sustainable in real life, not just in feelings. This person comes across as someone who values structure, personal beliefs, and inner roles. They have a strong sense of what feels right or wrong to them, even if they don't always explain it out loud. They are not reckless with their hurt. They don't jump into things easily. They observe, they test, they take their time. When it comes to you, they feel a slow building sense of interest and curiosity. They are not rushing, but they are looking ahead. They think about where this could go in the future. They imagine possibilities. They may not talk about directly, but mentally they're already standing a few steps ahead, wondering what direction this connection might take. Um, there's also a strong sense that they see you as someone stable, reliable, and emotionally valuable. They don't view as a temporary distraction. They view you as someone who has real substance, someone who could actually be part of their life in a meaningful way. At the same time, this person can be cautious. They don't like to make promises they are not sure they can keep. They don't like to move faster than they feel ready for. So even though they are interested, they may move slower than you expect. The relationship energy feels like it's in building phase rather than a climax phase. It's not a peak yet. And also, it's not at a final destination yet. It's more like a laying foundation slowly and intentionally. Now, let's talk about the second line and look at what kind of actions they're likely to take toward you. Mm, their future actions feel inconsistent on the surface, but not because they don't care, it's more because they're internally conflicted and processing a lot. There are moments where they feel emotionally overwhelmed, moments where they feel unsure, moments where their fears, doubts, or past wounds rise to the surface. During those times, they may pull back, become quieter, or seem distant. Um, it's a way to self-regulate. But then there are also moments where they feel an urge to take a leap, to try, to reach out, to move toward you, to see what happens if they stop overthinking and just follow their heart for a moment. So their action can look like a push and pull pattern. One moment they might open up, show curiosity, ask questions, or initiate contact. Another moment, they might disappear into their own head and go quiet. This doesn't feel like someone who has decided no. It also doesn't feel like someone who has fully decided yes. It feels like someone standing at the edge of a new chapter, unsure whether to step in or stay where they are. They may test the waters with the small gestures rather than big declaration. Checking in, sending a simple message, liking your post, asking how you're doing, seeing if you're still there. They want to see how you respond. They want to see if the energy between you still feels safe and mutual. Now, let's look at the third line and talk about why they behave this way. What emotional space is driving these actions? At the core, this person is in a space of acceptance and emotional surrender. They're starting to accept that their feelings for you exist even if they don't fully understand them yet. They may have tried to rationalize it away. They may have told themselves they shouldn't feel this. They may have tried to focus on other things. But deep down, they are realizing they cannot ignore it anymore. There's also a sense that they feel some kind of invisible bond with you, like you're energetically connected in a way they cannot explain. Even when you're not talking, they still think about you. Even when they try to move on mentally, your presence lingers. They don't necessarily see you as someone they need to chase aggressively. It's more like they feel you're meant to walk alongside them, not be forced into place. So the reason behind their action is not manipulation. It's not game playing. It's internal process. They're trying to figure out what this connection means to them and what they're capable of giving right now. Now, let's move into the first line and look at what they are expecting from you. What they want most from you right now is emotional balance. They don't want emotional pressure. They don't want ultimatums. They don't want to feel like they are being rushed into a decision. At the same time, they also don't want coldness or complete withdrawal. They want you to remain present in their life in a calm, grounded way. They expect calm, steady, emotional, mature energy. They want you to be open but not desperate, present but not clingy, warm but not overwhelming. They're also hoping that you can be emotionally understanding about their transitions, about the changes they're going through internally. They want to feel safe with you while they figure themselves out. Another big expectation is emotional honesty. They don't want hidden resentment. They don't want passive aggressive behavior. They don't want silent punishment. If something bothers you, they would rather you express it than bottle it up. There's also a strong theme of transformation here. They're in the middle of shedding old emotional patterns, old relationship habits, old version of themselves. And they expect you, whether consciously or unconsciously, to allow them space to grow through that process. At the same time, they don't want emotional depth with you. They want meaningful conversations. They want to feel emotional understood. They want to feel that you actually see them, not just an idealized version of them. And one more important thing, they expect emotional stability from you. It doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to be constant happiness, but you have to be consistent. They want to know that your feelings don't flip drastically every day. They want to feel that your presence in their life is steady and reliable. So let's pull everything together. This person expects you to remain grounded. They expect you to stay emotionally open. They expect you to move with patience. They want to figure themselves out. What should your future action be? Your best position is calm self respect. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't over explain. You stay kind, you stay open, you stay honest. You continue living your life and growing and choosing yourself. If they step forward, you meet them halfway. If they hesitate, you don't collapse. This connection is not meant to be forced. If it grows, it will grow through mutual willingness. If it doesn't mean you are not enough. It simply means the timing or emotional capacity wasn't aligned. So, pile one. This person is slowly waking up to their feelings for you. They are not ready to fully articulate everything yet, but they are not indifferent. So the energy here is stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and let them show you who they are through actions over time. And that was all for part one. Thank you for watching today and see you next reading. Bye. Welcome to everyone who chose part two. If you're here, you're in the right place. Today's topic is what the other person expects from me at this moment and my future actions. So in this reading, we are going to look at a few different layers of this connection. The first line, we are going to look into their current feeling toward you, their emotional state, and the overall energy. The second line, we are going to see what kind of actions they're likely to take toward you, how they will actually going to move, not just how they feel. And third line, we'll look at the emotional reason behind those actions, why they choose to act that way. And final line, we are going to see what they are currently expecting from you, what they want from you emotionally, energetically, and in terms of your role in their life right now. So let's start with the first line and look at their current feelings toward you. Pile 2 feels like this person is standing at the edge of a truth they can no longer ignore. On the surface, they may look calm, composed, and emotionally contained. They don't overshare. They don't easily reveal what's going on inside of them. They often present themselves as someone who has control over their emotions, someone who keeps things logical, measured, and restrained. But internally, this person is dealing with a very uncomfortable realization. They're starting to recognize that their feelings for you are real. It's not surface level attraction, it's not simple curiosity. This feels like a genuine emotional pull that keeps returning, no matter how much they try to suppress it. And that realization feels destabilizing for them. Because at the same time, this person is carrying unresolved emotional baggage from their past. There's a sense of an old story that never fully closed, an attachment that still has emotional weight, a situation, connection. It could be a relationship that left to loose end. For many of you, this can point to a past partner, long-term relationship, or marriage, or someone they are still technically tied to in some way, emotionally, legally, or practically. Even if they don't talk about it, even if they act like they've moved on, they know deep down that something behind them is not fully resolved. So now they're stuck in a very uncomfortable dual reality. One part of them feels drawn toward you. Another part of them feels guilty for feeling drawn toward you. They see you as sincere. They sense that your feelings, your interest, and your presence come from a genuine place. And that actually makes things harder for them. Because if you are someone casual, someone shallow, someone emotionally unavailable, they could justify treating this lightly, but they don't see you that way. They see you as someone real, someone with depth, someone who would be affected by their choices. Personality-wise, this person has a strong need for control. They like to feel like they are the ones steering their life, making rational decisions and choosing their path consciously. They don't like being overtaken by emotions. So when their heart starts reacting on its own, when feelings arise that they didn't plan for it, it creates internal tension. Because they're trying to be logical, they're trying to be responsible, they're trying to do what they think is right, but their emotion toward you keeps slipping through the cracks. So the overall connection energy here feels like it's unspoken attraction, unspoken emotional pull, and there's also unspoken inner conflict. Nothing is fully expressed or resolved, everything is felt. Now let's move into the second line and look at what kind of actions they are likely to take toward you. Their actions feels contradictory. On one hand, they will still feel magnetically drawn to you. They may reach out, they may check in, they may initiate conversations, they may show warmth, curiosity, or emotional openness in small ways. These are the moments when their feelings override their fear. But on the other hand, they may suddenly pull back. They may go quiet, they may disappear for periods of time, they may seem distant or emotionally unavailable without explanations. This is not because you did something wrong or they stopped caring, they suddenly lost interest. It's because every time they feel themselves getting closer to you, it triggers internal alarms. Guilt, fear, anxiety, and sense of that they're crossing a line they're not ready to cross. So they cut themselves off. And also, this is a self-sabotage pattern, which is not good. They move toward you because they feel something. Then they hurt the connection because they believe they shouldn't feel it. And from your perspective, this can feel confusing. One moment they are warm, the next moment they are cold. And one moment they are present, the next moment they are gone. It can feel like emotional whiplash. But from their perspective, they feel like they're constantly fighting themselves. They're not sending firmly yes, but also no. They're standing in between. They may test the waters with gestures rather than bold declaration. It can be a casual message, a simple check-in, a reaction to something you post, a small attempt to see if you're still there. They want to know if the connection still exists and you're still open and door is still cracked. Okay, now let's move to the third line and talk about why they behave this way. At the core, this person knows they need a resolution with their past or, someone or relationship, whatever it is. They know that they cannot build something new on top of unfinished emotional debris. They know they cannot move forward cleanly while something behind them is still emotionally alive. But as you know, resolution requires courage. It requires facing uncomfortable truths, admitting that certain relationship didn't work, accepting that some chapters are truly over. And they're not fully there yet. They may still be clinging to hope about their past or holding on to familiarity, or they may be afraid of the unknown. At the same time, their feelings for you are growing. That's the problem. They didn't plan this, or they didn't intend this, but it's happening anyway. So they are stuck between two emotional forces, one pulling them forward towards something new, one pulling them backward towards something familiar. It's not because they're malicious, it's not because they enjoy hurting people. It's because they're emotionally messy and unresolved. They're operating from confusion. Let's look at what they're currently expecting from you. This is the most uncomfortable part of this reading. They're strongly attracted to you. They don't want to lose you, or they don't want you to disappear. They don't want you to move on easily. At the same time, they are not in a position to offer you a clean, committed, emotionally available relationship right now. So, what they're expecting is they want you to stay connected and they want you to still be there. They want you to still care. But they don't want to be pressured for clarity. They don't want to be asked to define things or forced into making a choice. They want the comfort of your presence without responsibility. That's the honest truth of this energy. They're operating from desire, attachment, and emotional hunger. So, what should your future action be with Pal 2? Your best position is grounded self respect. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't try to save them, you don't try to fix their past. You stay kind, you stay calm, you stay emotionally honest, but you also stay aware. If someone cannot meet you in a clean, available space, it's not your job to shrink yourself to fit into their confusion. If they step up, show consistency, and actually start resolving their situation, then you can reassess. If they stuck, you don't pause your life for them. So pile 2, this person does have feelings for you, that part is real. But as you know, for the relationship, feelings alone are not enough. Being ready matters, availability matters, action matters. So the energy here is observe their actions over time, not their words or emotional moments. And that was all for pile 2. Thank you for watching today and see you next reading. Bye! Welcome to everyone who chose pile 3. If you're here, you're in the right place. Today's topic is what the other person expects from me at this moment and my future actions. So in this reading, we are going to look at a few different layers of disconnection. The first line, we are going to look into their current feelings toward you, their emotional state, the overall energy of disconnection. And second line, we are going to see what kind of actions they are likely to take toward you in the near future, how they are actually going to move, not just how they feel. And third line, we'll look at the emotional reason behind those actions and why they choose to act that way. And final line, we are going to see what they currently expect from you, what they want from you emotionally, energetically, in terms of your role in their life right now. So let's start with the first line and look at their current feelings toward you. Pile 3 feels intense in a quiet, contained, but very powerful way. This person feels your presence strongly even when you're not physically around. You cross their mind randomly. They'll be doing something completely unrelated and suddenly think of you. Your energy lingers with them long after interactions end. You affect their mood more than you probably realize. They see you as powerful, but not in a loud or dominant way. More like it's inner power. You come across as someone who has depth, emotional awareness, and a strong inner world. You might be intuitive, you might naturally pick up on people's emotions. You might understand things without needing them to be explained. And they notice that. They notice how you move, how you speak, how you carry yourself. They are very aware that you are not shallow. They also feel like meeting you shifted something inside them. And I also see this connection can make a transformation. You may have triggered self-reflection and growth and questions about who they are and what they want. You didn't just enter their life quietly. You made this impact. And there's also a sense that they feel more confident around you. You bring out a side of them that feels capable, hopeful, and motivated. Being connected to you makes them feel like a better version of themselves. Emotionally, they feel good when they think about you. There's attraction, there's warmth, there's a sense of emotional satisfaction. You feel like something they desire. You feel like a wish, like something they would genuinely be happy to have in their life. At the same time, this person has a strong sense of personal drive. They like to feel successful. They like to feel accomplished. They like to feel like they're moving forward. And they don't enjoy stagnation. They don't enjoy feeling stuck or powerless. So when they look at you, they don't see you as a passive presence. They see you as someone they could actively move toward, someone they could choose, someone they could build something real with. The overall connection energy feels forward facing. It's not stuck or fading. It's more like a steady movement. It can be slow, but it's intentional. This doesn't feel like a connection that's meant to go nowhere. It feels like something that's meant to evolve. Okay, Now let's move to the second line and look at what kind of actions they're likely to take toward you. Their future action shows warmth, openness, and growing expressiveness. They're likely to become more communicative, more talkative, more engaged. You may notice them initiating conversation more often or finding small excuses to reach out, or you may notice them asking about your day, asking about your life, and also remembering details you shared before, bringing up things you mentioned casually. They may start including you more in their world, even in small ways, like sharing random thoughts, sending something that reminded them of you, wanting your opinions on things. And these are subtle signs, but they are important. They show mental and emotional investment. And there's also a strong sense that they want to explore possibility with you. They may start hinting at future-oriented ideas. Like when we have a conversation, they might say like, we should do this sometime, or one day we could, blah, blah, blah. Imagine if we something together, blah, blah, blah. It might sound casual, it might sound playful, but underneath it, there's intention. They're not just thinking about you in the present moment. They're imagining potential. They're imagining scenarios. They're imagining what could be. And this does not necessarily mean an instant confession, and it doesn't mean immediate commitment, but it does mean movement. They are moving toward you. They may still move carefully and also test the waters, observe your reactions. They want to see if the interest is mutual or if you're open, the energy feels safe. So their actions may feel gradual, but they are deliberate. Now let's move to third line and talk about why they're choosing to move this way. At the core, this person is having a realization about themselves. They're starting to understand what actually makes them happy and see that surface level connections don't satisfy them anymore. They don't want meaningless situation or, flirting or connections that lead nowhere. They want something that feels real, something emotionally fulfilling, something that has substance. They're also becoming more intentional with their time and energy. It's not in a manipulative way, it's more like, I don't want to waste my life anymore. It's more like that way. So they're realizing that if they want a certain kind of a relationship, they have to move differently. And they know they have to choose differently and invest differently. And you fit into that realization. So you feel aligned with the version of themselves that they're slowly growing into. And you feel like someone who could walk beside them, add to their life. So their actions are coming from growing clarity. It's not certainty or perfection, but it's more like awareness. So now let's see what they are currently expecting from you. This part is layered. They're not expecting perfection, or they're not expecting you to fix them, or they're not expecting you to solve everything. What they want is something simple but real. They expect honesty and openness, authenticity, emotional availability. They want to feel that your interest is genuine, and they want to feel that you're not playing games. This person carries emotional wounds from the past, I can see. There was a heartbreak, disappointment, or situation where they felt rejected, situation where they felt like they were not enough. Because of that, they can be a little bit sensitive. They can overthink. They can sometimes assume the worst if they sense distance. So what they want from you is reassurance through consistency. It doesn't mean that you have to do constant texting or constant validation, but you should show steady presence. They want to know you're not disappearing suddenly. They want to know your energy toward them is stable. They also want lightness, like laughter, playful moments, and joy. They don't want everything to feel heavy or serious. At the same time, they don't want depth too. They want meaningful conversation. They want to feel understood. They want to feel seen. They're also quietly hoping you will move at a similar pace to them. Not demanding answers before they're ready, not rushing ahead, not forcing labels. So they want to feel like things are unfolding naturally. They want space to grow into their feelings without pressure. If something bothers you, they'd rather you say calmly than shut down. If you need space, they'd rather you communicate it than disappear. They don't expect perfection, but they do expect honesty. They want you meet in the middle and mutual effort, mutual curiosity, mutual willingness. So what they're hoping for is balance. Light but real, soft but honest, playful but sincere. So let's pull everything together. Pile 3. This person sees you as someone who could genuinely matter in their life. They're becoming more aware of their feelings. They're becoming more intentional about moving toward you. So, what should your future actions be? You should stay open, stay authentic, stay grounded in yourself. Your position now is not bad at all. You don't need to chase, you don't need to force anything. Let them meet you, let them show you who they are through actions. If they move forward, you move forward too. If they stall, you don't abandon yourself waiting. This connection has real potential, but remember, you still choose yourself first, always. And that was all for pile 3. Thank you for watching today and see you next reading. Bye. Welcome to everyone who chose pile 4. If you're here, you're in the right place. Today's topic is what the other person expects from me at this moment and my future actions. So in this reading, we are going to look at a few different layers of this connection. At the first line, we are going to look into their current feelings toward you, their emotional state, the overall energy of this connection. And the second line, we are going to see what kind of actions they are likely to take toward you. And third line, we'll look at the emotional reason behind those actions. What's driving their behavior, what kind of a hurt space they're operating from, and why they choose to act that way. And the final line, we're going to see what they currently expect from you, what they want from you emotionally, energetically, in terms of your role in their life right now. So let's start with the first line. So pile 4 feels like this person is in a quiet rebuilding phase. It's not loud breakdown or dramatic collapse or a public crisis. It's more like an internal reset. They're slowly trying to reorganize their life. They have to think about their priorities, their routines, their sense of stability, long-term direction. And this person is very aware that they don't want to repeat all the mistakes anymore. They don't want to live on autopilot, and they don't want chaotic relationship, emotional roller coasters. So right now, a lot of their focus is on building a solid foundation. That can look like working harder on their finances, getting serious about career goals, trying to become more independent, learning how to emotionally regulate themselves, learning how to stand on their own feet. Because of this, they approach a connection differently than someone who feels carefree. They don't jump into feelings fast. They don't fall in love impulsively. So they've learned through experience that moving too fast usually leads to pain. At the same time, they do see you as someone important. They don't see you as an entertainment or distraction. They see you as someone who could actually fit into their future. And there's also a strong sense that you feel different to them. You don't feel tied to their past. You don't remind them of old wounds. You don't feel like a repeat of old patterns. You feel like a new energy, like a new chapter, like a possibility that hasn't been ruined yet. That matters a lot to them. But because this matters, they become more careful, not less. And this person is naturally guarded. They've been hurt before. They've trusted before. They've invested emotionally before. And they didn't always get the outcome they hoped for. So now they lead more with logic than emotion. They think before they speak. They analyze before they act. They keep a tight grip on their feelings. Personality-wise, they may come across as calm, rational, or emotionally reserved. But underneath that, they feel more than they show. When it comes to you, especially, they feel curiosity. They feel mental interest. They feel emotional intrigue. They think about you more than they admit. And they wonder about you, replay small moments, notice your tone, notice your words. They're quietly assessing compatibility. It's not like a judgmental way, it's more like a serious way. Like someone who is asking themselves, like, could this actually work in real life? So the overall connection energy feels cautious but genuine. Now let's move into the second line and look at what kind of actions they are likely to take toward you. Their actions are subtle. This is not someone who is going to suddenly confess their feelings dramatically. They're not the type to rush in with big speeches. They're more likely to show interest through small, consistent behaviors. They may check in, they may ask how you're doing, or they may start a conversation from time to time, and they may send something that reminded them of you, like, reels or shorts or something like that. And they may react to your post. They may quietly watch your social media. This is how they show interest. Quietly, consistently, low key. At the same time, they overthink a lot. They replay conversations, they analyze your tone, they wonder if they say something wrong thing or they should have said more. They worry about being rejected, embarrassing themselves, like getting attached too fast. They overthink. So sometimes, even when they want to reach out, they hesitate. You might experience this as like they seem interested, but they don't always act on it. And that's accurate. It's not because they don't care, it's because they're internally debating. They're mentally active, but behaviorally cautious. They're negotiating with themselves. Okay, so let's move into the third line and see why they behave this way. At their core, this person wants connection. They want partnership, they want emotional closeness, they want to share a life with someone. But they also want safety. They don't want to open their heart just to be disappointed again and repeat old patterns or invest into something unstable. They've learned what it feels like to give too much to the wrong situation. So now they treat potential connections seriously. They don't see you as temporary. They see you as something that could matter. And because of that, they are very careful. There's also a quiet sense that this connection feels meaningful to them. It's grounded knowing, like this feels important. And when something feels important to them, they don't want to mess it up. So their hesitation is not disinterest. Their slowness is not rejection. Their caution is actually a form of care. Okay, moving into the first line and look at what they currently expect from you. What they want is patience, not endless waiting, not sacrificing yourself, but patient in a sense of not rushing them. They expect emotional maturity. They want calm communication, respectful conversation, honesty without drama. They expect you to move slowly with them, with their pace. They are not looking for someone who pushes for instant labels or demands a certainty immediately. They are looking for someone who can build it step by step, even if it takes time. And they also expect consistency, steady energy. They want to feel that you're real, you mean what you say, your interest is genuine, you're not playing games. They also expect openness. They also want to feel emotionally seen by you in a small everyday ways. It doesn't need to be grand gesture, but through simple moments of presence, like remembering what they tell you, checking it when they are quiet, noticing when their energy feels off, acknowledging their effort even when those efforts are subtle. So they are hoping you won't assume the worst when they move slowly. And also, you won't immediately interpret hesitation as rejection. You can hold a little space for their learning curve. They are not asking you to wait forever or put your life on pause, but they're hoping you won't punish them for being cautious. They want to feel that you're choosing them because you genuinely want to, not because you're afraid of losing them. They want mutual choice, mutual curiosity, mutual willingness to see where this could go. What they want is emotional exchange. They want to be able to talk, they want to be able to share thoughts, or communication can flow. At the same time, they don't expect you to fix them. They don't expect you to heal their past or save them. They just want to feel safe exploring a connection with you. They're hoping for something that slowly becomes stable, mutual, and emotionally healthy. So, what should your future actions be? Stay grounded, stay calm, and stay emotionally open. Let them meet you, let them move at their pace, but also stay aware of your own needs. If the connection grows, grow with it. If it stays stagnant for too long, you're allowed to reassess. You don't shrink yourself to fit into someone else's fear. You choose a path where love feels safe, mutual, and steady. Pile 4. You should know this person really likes you. They see potential with you. They're cautious, but they're not closed. And they're slow, but they're not stuck. This connection has real potential if both of you approach it with patience and honesty. That was all for Pile 4. Thank you for watching today and see you next reading. Bye.